from My News 26 and CCTV. It's high school hockey, coming to you from the WEX in Cadillac. This 26 Sports and CCTV high school hockey presentation is presented by Cadillac Casting Incorporated.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of high school hockey on 26 Sports and CCTV. My name is Bill Dooley, and tonight we are going to shine the spotlight on 20 years of Cadillac Viking hockey played right here at the WEX. On the pregame show, we are happy to have the one and only head coach from 1998 to the present, Scott Graham, and also the original assistant coach, Tom Mueller. Welcome, gentlemen.
Nice to be here.
Tom, we want to kind of get started with you just to kind of get a little bit behind the scenes and maybe see what was going on before the high school team started in 1998. Here's the microphone.
I grabbed a bunch of 10-year-olds that wanted to start playing hockey, and we joined Caja here. Doc Whalen grabbed a group of kids. I grabbed a group of kids, and we played in the outdoor league. It's from Sheboygan, Mackinac City, down to Mount Pleasant. We played outdoors, and we did that for a few years.
Yeah.
And then they started talks about building the indoor ice here, and 97, 98, they did. The WEX was built, I believe. And the group of kids I had were freshmen and sophomores.
Right
and
there,
freshmen and sophomores.
Yep.
We heard there was going to be a high school team coming up in a year. So we grabbed those kids, and it's midget age kids, and we took them down to Grand Rapids and played in what they called the JV League. Teams from Mona Shores, Grand Rapids, Wayland, Muskegon, and we played a season down there. And not knowing what was going to happen, we knew there was going to be a high school, but the kids would be eligible for it. In the summer of 98, I believe, I got a call. Horgan hooked me up with John Horgan, the athletic director at Cadillac High School at the time.
Yeah.
Hooked Scotty and I up, and we chatted, and he took me on.
The rest is history. Now,
yes.
Tom, was the outdoor rink in Cadillac, where was that located?
Right around here on this same grounds.
Okay.
Yep.
I think I remember playing there when I was up in Rogers City. We came down and played in Cadillac, and they had the chicken wire. They had the chicken wire around the rink, and it was an outdoor, and I think it was right in this area. So that's what my earliest memories of the outdoor rink. All right, now we're gonna talk to Scott here, and Scott, maybe you can tell us how you came from all the way from North Dakota to kind of start your hockey coaching career here in Cadillac.
It started out with a phone call from a gentleman by the name of Mr. Fales, Chuck Fales. He's a retired teacher in Manton through family. I've known him pretty much all my life. I happened to be transferring back and forth from North Dakota via plane. Basically, my mom was sick with terminal cancer in the hospital in Flint, and I found out through a quick phone call, and I started calling John Horgan, right away as soon as I found out, and pretty much got the ball rolling. We didn't connect right away. I just happened to be in Flint at the time, and I went back to North Dakota a couple of days after that, back with Penn and the kids, and essentially from that point started the ball rolling, and I had to come back and forth a few more times through the summer, and we were able to connect on the phone and really dial something up and get some things rolling. And we made a connection, and they granted me an interview, and from that, we are in a hockey rink, right?
Yes, we are.
They granted me an interview, he and Sue Westhauser, whom I'm grateful for and certainly appreciative of. But it was a fast move in that summer, and we ended up losing my mom in July 26th, and about a week and a half, 10, 12 days later, we packed up and moved here, and got this thing rolling, and here we are ever since. And it was an interesting transition nonetheless. The kids were young, but it was something that we were looking to do and aspiring to do, and here we are 20 years later.
Scott, what was your background in hockey? like high school, college, anything like that?
I grew up playing hockey in the youth level in Flint, suburban Flint, and in the Metro Detroit area through the ranks, and played in Lansing for a couple of years in Detroit here and there.
Yep.
Played a little junior hockey after I graduated high school. Went out to a small college in North Dakota, at North Dakota State University of Bottineau, and played for a mentor of mine, Gary Warren, whom I'm forever grateful for too. Met Penn my
Yep.
first year,
Yep.
and here we are 30 years later, and we just actually celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary last August, so that was really cool.
Congratulations.
So
All right.
we're, and I was fortunate enough to go back to work at the school that I played for under Gary Warren and learned a lot, and he continued to mentor me, and we're still to this day really close and good friends. So it's really a unique and a really cool relationship we have, and it's carried on. He's now retired, but you continue to learn in the game, you continue to evolve, and
Yeah.
I think as a coach, as somebody who wants to stay in the game, like myself, I've always wanted to stay in the game, and it's been we had a lot of opportunities, and this one has been very unique and special in its own right.
All right. We're going to come back to you now, Tom. If you can maybe go in the old Rolodex of your funny stories or interesting stories from some of the early years. Can you maybe share some of those with our viewers out there?
Well, I don't want to delve into the interesting stories, but there's a lot, and they're 6 years that I was coaching, and it's a couple come to mind though. We're playing in Midland, and Scotty and I are in the dressing room looking. Kids getting their gear, they're doing their stretching. Where's Richie McGowan? Where's Richie? He's got to be here. We go. Richie's at the skate rental. Richie forgot to pack his skates. He had to, thank goodness, Midland Ice Arena had skate rental, and he played the game in I think red rental skates.
Yeah.
That was fun. And one other story. We had a game in Bay City. I think Scotty, it was a Saturday game. Scotty took off to Flint right after that game, so it was me on the bus, and we're heading down, and the bus driver got ill. And I don't know how many times we pulled over so the bus driver could walk out and
Do his thing.
do her thing.
Do her thing.
And the kids were wondering what is going on. And that was it's a long bus ride from Bay City
Oh, yeah.
in the winter, anyways. And that was a real long one. But no, those were a couple good stories. It was all enjoyable, really
Right.
was. I miss it to this day.
Yeah. All right, Scott, we're going to come back to you now. What are some of the funny or interesting stories you remember from the early years?
Unfortunately, it's a tough question to answer because there are so many, and
many.
each team has its own flair, its own character,
Yep.
and characters,
Yeah.
shall we say, also.
Right.
But to really pinpoint one or the other, it's tough because you feel like you leave people out, eh? But
Right.
I think as a whole, I look back on the early days. I remember spending a lot of quality time in our defensive zone. Tommy Mueller under a lot of duress and fire. I remember one game, I think we got outshot, I believe it was 78 to about 5, and I don't recall having a shot on goal from inside their blue line against Alpena. One period, I believe, was 33 to nothing in shots against us. I remember it was either that year or the year after, watching the starting lineup with the precocious physical stature RJ Hayes against the opposing left winger, who was this small, diminutive forward, and RJ can make anyone look small for that matter.
6'5" and 250.
Whatever he was, 280. I don't know. He was a big man,
Yeah.
and the two of them one looking down and one looking up at him, and the young little guy just shaking his head and trying to process that, take that in, and the stories are countless, and the memories are indelibly etched in my memory, and I know Tom's memory, and I know the other coaches. And obviously, we've had the experiences in the regional finals and winning some district pre-regions, and
Yep.
those were always good and fun. And even in some of the years we didn't have a great record, win or loss,
Yeah.
we always, David Berger was such a character, and Nate Peterson, Eric Sharp. I mean, we could go on, and
Yeah.
again, I'm leaving people out,
No,
and it's
no, it's-
unfortunate. PJ, I could just go on.
Yeah.
But obviously, the trip to Comerica Park was very special. When we played in the Winter Classic, Outdoor Winter Classic against
Okay.
Big Rapids.
Yep.
The trip down to Joe Louis Arena was very special against Big Rapids. That was part of the canceled season. When they canceled or shortened the season, they ended up having to nix the Winter Classic at Comerica Park and at U of M Stadium, so they pushed it up a year to the next year and offered us the opportunity to go down to Joe Louis Arena. But again, it's really difficult to pinpoint any one specific thing. But there's so many memories and so many favorable memories and so many opportunities
Was there one where the kids forgot either their sticks or some part of their equipment at the game? Do you guys remember that? Where they, or maybe their jerseys?
I don't recall that, but I do recall the kids leaving their sticks on the bus a couple of different times. I know that has occurred, and
Yes.
I guess I would be remiss if I were not to mention a stick incident by former assistant coach Mark Moore from the bench. That was quite entertaining, and a situation in which he had gotten to the point where he was too far gone and there was no stopping him. You just had to let him finish what he started. That was quite comical, and we still to this day have.
What did he
have
do?
fun. He emptied the stick rack in defiance of a call.
Let me
And
ask you this: was I the referee that?
I don't
day?
recall. I was trying to think
I
about
don't
that. Quite honestly, I was honestly trying to think about that. And I will admit, you and I have had some colorful exchanges over
yeah.
the years and disagreements.
And Mark, too.
And and it's all good. And you know
Not,
what?
not with Tom, though.
we-
He was
he was
the calm.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? We're passionate about what we do. You guys are passionate about officiating. You're important to the game. The kids are important to the game, and we all take it, the spirit to levels that sometimes are heightened sense of anxiety, and but it's all in the best interest of what we're doing and what we want to do, and we're competitive in nature, but again, we could sit here for hours and go through them, and I maybe should have written some down just for recollection purposes.
We're
but
going to go back to Tom right now, and you're
Okay.
going to get another shot here. All right, Tom, you gave us a couple funny stories. What are some of the things just that you appreciate, or your fondest memories of being assistant coach?
All right. You look back and generalizing, what I miss now is the locker room, the in-between period adjustments.
Yeah.
Scotty and I talk in the room, what do you think needs to happen? And go in and get the kids to either fire up or do something different with the forecheck, something. So
Yeah.
that's something I miss.
Yeah.
Plus just the practices. You've got kids from all different walks of life. Some need a kick in the pants. Some need an arm around the shoulder to get the best out of them. And just seeing what each kid needs to produce their best. And that's what I miss.
Yeah.
When I look back, like Scotty says, you really don't want to list things because you're going to miss a million of them.
Yeah.
But the things I look back, the very first high school game at the LSSU Arena, playing a powerhouse Sioux team, which we weren't ready for. But Hesselink getting the first high school goal with the dump in from the blue line, I think, and that was cool.
That is neat.
Playing in the barn, the old barn at Alpena, you missed that.
I remember that.
And like Sky said, Comerica Park and Joe Louis. Probably one of our biggest wins early on when we went down to Midland and played. I think they were ranked in the top 5 or top 8, and we played down there. And Mike Stevens scored a goal, a 2-on-1. Shane Holly fed him. We scored a late third period goal. Zach Gill withstood a furious rally, and we beat them down there. That had to be one of our first big wins against a quality opponent.
Right.
Playing Traverse City Central, I think, for the first time, and they were a powerhouse. I think we played them. They were 3rd in the state.
Yeah.
And 74 shots, and they beat us 2-1 in overtime. The kids just battled.
Yeah.
You know, and it's stuff like that I miss. I come to the arena and see Scott working with the kids, and I loved that.
Yeah.
You know, I just loved everything about it.
That's great. And also getting to be with Tommy.
Yeah, I'm
You know.
coaching your son. Scotty went through this. A lot of the assistants, most of the assistants, always got to coach their kids, and I guess I started right off coaching Tommy and all the way up and then through high school. And then so when he left, it was like cold turkey. And actually, I got out of coaching after a couple of years. He went to Minnesota, came back, played for Ferris. And then my daughter, Rachel, was a senior playing volleyball. And I thought, now's a good time to step away because I want to watch them do their thing.
Yeah, right.
Scotty was cold turkey. When you coach your kid, there's something extra at the rink. We love coaching. We love coaching all the other kids.
Yeah.
But when your own kid's there, it's something special. It's probably hard on the son.
Yeah. Yep.
For all the obvious reasons.
Yep.
Because you're trying to be a dad and a coach.
Right.
And then when they leave, you still have the passion for coaching, but there's just something missing from the rink.
Yeah.
And you got to work through that,
Yeah.
which, Scotty's going through that now.
Right.
So I'm sure every coach does.
Thank you very much for that, Tom. And Scott, coming back to you now, just kind of wrapping it up with some, just your thoughts about coaching and maybe some of the people you want to, thank over the years too. I know there's a lot of people, but do your best.
You look up there,
Yeah.
you see that list of alum, and certainly, that comes at the forefront and of appreciation of all the players and their level of commitment. Excuse me. And then realizing too, they went through a lot. Many of them went through very difficult times here, and their willingness to continue to come to the rink and put the gear on and go to battle in the face of some very realistic situations and some tough, difficult situations, circumstances, in spirit of the love of the game is pretty remarkable, and their willingness to support me and to support the program and support the coaches has been very special, and certainly something we're very appreciative of, and certainly something it's missed.
Yeah.
Obviously, I have to reflect on the coaches. These guys are all volunteers, and when you take Mark Moore, you take his son Tommy came on board for a year.
Yeah.
You take Tom, who's been with us for a long time, and Randy Boyke and Les Sharp and Mike Stebbins, who's there now with us, and you put that in perspective. You also have to remember that you gain friendships from this, and the relationships you build are very unique and special, and it's something I'm very, very grateful for, and will forever be indebted for.
Yep.
And then their commitment and their willingness to support the kids and volunteer their time and give up time away from the rink. They've had the unique experience of coaching their kids through the ranks and even in through high school, and that was very special and for them. And then obviously my mentor Gary Warren, he's been very special through the years, as I mentioned a little while ago, and John Horrigan and Sue Westhauser for the opportunity. But I can't thank my wife enough for 25 years, and we've been together 30 years, and she's my best friend, and certainly my two children. It's been interesting and certainly emotional.
And Penny.
But without
We want to mention her name, Penny.
I say Penn, excuse me.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, Penny. But putting it into perspective, it's been a family thing that they've supported me. My wife supported me along the way, and now I had this vision when we moved here, and I still have a vision. I don't know that the vision came to fruition, but I still have this vision. I don't feel like I'm done yet.
It's still
and
evolving.
Still. It's a work in progress,
Yeah.
and I want to see more for the program.
Yeah.
And 20 years has been very, very rewarding, and it doesn't feel like 20 years, but it certainly has been 20 years. The age obviously is doesn't lie.
Yeah.
But as a whole, I think what's really been unique for us, and again, likewise for the coaches, it's a family experience, and I've had the luxury of having a wife that supported me in this, and two children that have been a part of it, and then obviously Tom mentioned coaching with his son. That was a very special time.
Yeah.
With
Spencer.
with Spencer, but you know what? We continue putting the program in perspective, and we continue to put the goal of competing and wanting to improve our program and go out and battle and compete, and hopefully this thing is on good legs for future years to come.
Yeah.
So can't thank you guys enough. Obviously, you guys have been giving us a lot of love and support over the recent years. We had what was it?
CCTV.
CCTV, that's right.
Yeah,
and then went to
originally.
CTC for a while.
Yep.
And then now with My News 26, it's been really, really neat to see you guys out, and certainly a unique opportunity for the players. But as a whole, you know what, I can't thank everybody involved, the administrators who've supported us through the years, the players, and we're just looking forward to another game tonight and continuing to strive for a win here.
There will be some players, I was talking to Tom and you earlier, Scott, that will be showing up at the game tonight, and we're going to have them head up to the booth, and we'll have them throw the headset on. We'll get to talk to them a little bit, so that's going to be pretty cool. And then hopefully after the end of the game, maybe right down here by this camera, we'll get just a kind of a group shot of the coaches and whatever players have made that trip to the rink here, so that should be really fun. And I want to give a shout out to my partner Jeff Castillo. Jeff is sick. He really wanted to be here tonight, but he can't make it. So Jeff, we're missing you. And we just want to say that this is fun, doing this type of stuff, reconnecting with the kids. You know what I mean? And it's so much more fun than reffing. I absolutely love it, and I just like dealing with all the coaches and the kids and doing the interviews and making it for them. So we appreciate that. So anyway, we want to let you know that we will be back in just a moment with the opening puck drop between the Mattawan Wildcats and the Cadillac Vikings. You are watching high school hockey action on 26 Sports and CCTV.